Everybody, DayTraderRockStar here, and this is part one of the high probability watch list for the week of, and we're going to be going out. Let me get my calendar up. I don't even know what today is, so 21st plus probably the 24th. No, 25th. It's the 22nd today. So for the week of March 25th, and as usual, I'm on the mic doing the research. Paul's on the mic doing the show. You're here at Day Trading Radio. Markets is at the lows of the session right now, and the S&P futures down 55. This could go a lot lower, people. I'm very bearish going forward into next week, so I'll start off saying that. We did take some puts the other day. We got a nice turnover. We got profits, and I went back into some more puts, and then yesterday the market rallied, so I thought those puts were dead. They were crushed, but all of a sudden today, I'm sitting down. I'm like, all right, let me get ready. And I'm watching the market sell. I look over to the screen, and all of a sudden my puts are green, and they're going up fast. And so we took profits on a lot of those. And then I rolled, I took some out until next week. I do believe that the market will move down further early next week. So if it doesn't get down to, maybe we might even have a huge down day, which we are having a huge down day on the S&P. What's the cash at? I'm not even looking at the tradometer, which will give you all the indexes except the NASDAQ, and I have to fix that. And I can fix it. If I just had a minute of extra time, I would have to dig into that a little. But let me let me just get my tradometer up there. Traders works. All right, I got it open. So it tells me that the S&P is down 50, the Dow is down 432 points. 432 points. Wow, it's a nice drop.
Tradometer oversold.
We just had a tradometer oversold level across the board there. The ES, the NASDAQ, and the YM. But I feel like, we are damaged goods right now. The market has just come off of that Fed meeting, the FOMC rate decision. They announced that. All of a sudden, people spun that as a big negative, saying that we're not going to be raising rates and our economy is not going as fast as it should. They're always looking at the negative side of it. So we start to see the inverted yield curve come back into play, and that is really in focus right now. I had the seal up. Dak called me. Just bought some seal. And I feel that's what's going to affect this market more than anything right now is the over the weekend focus on this new event, and this not a new event, but just the story returning here. And this is why we're getting this pressure today. The daily here has reversed drastically from yesterday's reversal. Giving back everything plus a lot more, plus the 20-period moving average, plus we didn't even roll over yet. So I definitely see there's more downside here going into next week. The odds are.
NQ tradometer oversold.
But the good thing is, actually, believe it or not, a lot of our HPS setups are actually moving higher, and even in the face of this massacre. This massacre that we kind of getting today, a lot of the HPS setups are actually holding up pretty good. And I should mention Iron Mountain, which is starting to rotate back down now. There's a lot of pressure in this market, but that had a nice rip and moved higher. Kellogg, we had that moving much higher earlier. There is some weakness coming on. The Veru is actually holding up pretty good, but this is all being led. A lot of the financials are really getting hurt here. So going forward, I'm still very happy about about everything. Hold on, I got to take this. All right, back here. I just took a break.
Hi, took alert.
Care of some stuff, but market here just off the low, starting to bounce. I just want to show you the bot here. The bot is, I actually had time to program it. Get into doing some of the updates yesterday on it. So I was able to get that done. I'm working on some just a couple things, but take a look at it today. I'm not showing the whole chart because the chart's up on the other screen. I'm just showing you the alerts. We've had one, two, I think there was just one stop in that pullback. And that pullback was pretty steep. So normally we don't like to buy those pullbacks, but like right now I'm only running two scripts, and both of them are a divergence buy script. So I'm only identifying those. And again, this is an identification bot. It's identifying the levels to trade. It's automatically taking the trades to show you it, and to, but I always confirm the setup personally before I take it, so I push my own button. But this has been working great, and this is the latest one right here. We just got this, just got that bot, or just that trade right there, and that was a beautiful one. It was also a engulfing pattern. It was also a divergence, and it continues to push higher. It's actually, we'll go back over here and take a look at the market. So that's on the bot channel, and the bot channel is available there for you on the lower left-hand side of the dashboard all the time. So you can always track that. It has audio on it, so you'll know when the trades are being taken. Excuse me. And I am now in the process of just getting some better, tighter stops on it, and actually fixing the thing so it doesn't get run over as much, because sometimes if you have a fast drop, stochastic could show up as a mathematical stochastic, but the slope of the stochastic won't be right. So I'm adding in the slopes, and then it's going to be good. And I've been using it this last couple of weeks, just manually trading off of it, and it's been going really good. So I'm concentrating on it a lot. I'm looking forward to what we could do with it. Next thing, the only thing I have to do now is get the alerts set up, and you'll have an option to get those alerts 24/7. And I'll be working on that this week or next week, early next week. Shouldn't take long at all to do that. So I'm looking forward to that. Just an update on the bot channel right now. The bot channel is working really well. Really, really well. All right. The markets, on the other hand, down 46.25. I did buy puts out until next week. I do think that we're going to have a down week next week. I don't know how long that's going to last. Let's take a look right now. The market has sold off pretty good. Also, just got into some Marvell. I got a call on that. I typically don't answer the call, but we're there for some cheap calls going into next Friday. So I just picked up the 20, what was it I picked up? I don't even remember now. 20s or 21. They were like 12 cents, 11, 12 cents next week, next Friday. But again, high risk trade there. Not an HPS, not anything that we count on. So here's today's market. Gap down. That's a 5-minute chart, and that sold off pretty good. Broke some trend lines. We do have a trend line here that, let me bring that up. Let's see if we can get a good trend line in here. There we go. So we have this, oops, sorry about that. We have that trend line that just got broken to the downside. Kind of held it here a little second, then dropped off. Now, lots of times we'll see that retracement back up to that trend line before heading down. I do think the market was weak enough that we might have some follow through. And again, I think it's news, talking about the inverted yield curve. I think that's going to carry into tomorrow, or actually into next week. And this could end up being that nice aggressive move down. Little pullback before we move down a little bit further at the end of the day. That is what I'm looking at. So let's go back here. So the bot really working good. I'm looking for a good divergence to take today. Haven't seen it, but that might actually be coming down the pipe a little bit later. Some stocks that we're going to be watching before I get into the meat of the HPS watch list, which is, like I said, performing really good. We'll do an update on that, and then I'll add to some new ones. Let's do a couple updates of what we did this week already. All right, let's take a look at some. We're still in some of these, but we're also taking some profits because we got in earlier on these, and I wanted to take. I had some options on these that were expiring, so we got the pop, and we're able to take that off on the pop, but also holding some, and those are in profit. They're a profitable trade now. So I still have these April options on Kellogg. Everything looks good. The reason we wanted to get this one out there to you was a lower trend line, stochastic setup, plus a reversal candle. Check, 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 boom. Now you actually got a breakthrough and a little follow through. We actually have more momentum here on the chart, so I wouldn't be surprised to see this move a little bit higher. But yeah, perfect trade. This is what you have to wait for. You don't want to say that this could be a bottom on this. It could be, but like I said, you gotta have discipline to wait and find the setups, get in them, and you have to have the discipline to get out of them. Always knowing there's another trade coming down the block, and that's what we're doing. We're gonna bring you the next trade down the block. New trade on the block. It's a new band I'm starting. New trade on the block. Anyway, that's that. So we took care of that and still holding that. That's a little update, and I do believe that is. Let me double check on the HPS here for a second. I want to make sure that's. Is that labeled on that? All right, yeah, that is active. So that's an active stock on the HPS watch list, and we'll go over the next levels on that. We're going to go over the next levels. It's actually just triggered today, so it's just starting off, and I have your target on the HPS for that above us, and we'll do that in the second part of the video because it is a major part of the. And you got to look at the chart here. It's a beautiful looking chart. It's a beautiful looking chart, and just to point out, this is a gap area that we're breaking into. Now, a lot of people believe that when you break into the gap, the market or the price continues to move and fills that gap. But we always watch that gap area as an area of resistance, and it kind of blew right through it. We stopped at it yesterday. That was a great spot, but today, breaking through it, volume still looks good. So there's probably a good chance that this does close that gap and we get up in the 57 range. And at that point, you're probably going to take the profits, if not sooner. But that is an HPS that you'll be coming up in a little bit. All right, next one. Added to the plan, PLAN. It's one of my favorites. Nice pullback, nice reversal candle, big pop on it today. Now, a lot of things. You could actually read into this chart a little. Big candle yesterday, and today's candle didn't take out everything from yesterday. Where the SPX, we had that nice candle, but today's candle broke down through previous days' lows. That's very bearish. So you're seeing a little, even though the market is getting hammered here, some stocks are actually showing slight relative strength versus the overall markets, where the overall market is taking back yesterday's lows, and this one is holding yesterday's lows, a series of higher lows. Just we'll see how the day ends, but I still think you need to accumulate this one on any pullback. So that looks good. We picked up more of that yesterday. The 40 calls, April, and the 38. And they were not bad. 2 and change, 250 to 260. So we got rid of the K. Kellogg, we took care of that. I'm just going back. IRM, that is really working nice. IRM is an active trade on the HPS watch list. And this is a very nice looking stock. It had the reversal candle. It was holding at 20. We had the recognizable pattern. It was starting to look like a divergence. That's why I got into it. It didn't really show up as a divergence. It did come down a little. I mean, we could mess around with that line up there and say, hey, that is a divergence. It's just what we call a shallow divergence. It's not a big bounce here, and when it comes back down, it holds that previous low. It's kind of a running. Either way, it looked organized enough to understand, and that reversal candle right there was the big key right there, and oversold, and the combination of everything. So now it's in the process of breaking out, and still looks fine. And I'm holding shares on that. Today we had a couple new setups. Liongate Film. Let's wait. No, what was the one that just? Oh, the Kellogg. Let me see here. Yeah, the Kellogg. All right, so let me go down the list here. SPY. All right, the SPY. Again, I'm in the puts. I don't know if I'm in the puts on the on this video, but in the room, I took my puts off from that were expiring today. We took profits, and then we bought some more that go into next week, expecting a follow through early next week. Again, the bot has been unstoppable. remained, is breaking down some here. I'm in this one, and it is breaking down. Is that an HPS? It is an HPS, but it never hit its buy trigger, which is above us. So it needs to get through that 16 here before we really start getting interested in this. But it did break down here some. We have a, actually, I'm just looking at how fast this took out the recent lows here with this market today. Took out the lows, and look at the stochastics kind of lagging here. We turn up here over the next couple sessions next week. That is going to be a textbook divergence, and I will definitely double and triple down on that setup as a bottom play. And I think if that does give us a divergence here, we're going to get a move like this back up. I don't know how far, but definitely a nice move back up, maybe even up to that gap area, $19. So watch this one next week. See if this starts to turn back up with the price making the lows, and we have a classic divergence. Here we have divergence here, right there, right? That's what it says here. Those little dots. Here we had one here, a nice move up. Here we had one here, beautiful move up, and now we had one here, and it's kind of chopping around. But I think it's only a few sessions here before we decide that this is going to be a really good setup, and this is going to take
NQ
off.
Tradeometer oversold.
NQ being oversold as it continues to sneak down here. LW is also an awesome HPS setup. It had a great support line here. The reversal candle, and then now it's a follow-through breakout through the 50. Actually showing great relative strength right now as this one pushes right to the highs as the market here, very close to the lows. So just awesome. Looking at this one to move higher. We're long, and it looks great. So that's another HPS setup. Let's give you one more freebie on that, because these are going to be, some of these are on the HPS, and I haven't gone to the HPS list yet, and we're going to start that next. But let me see what that LB looks like, if I can find the LW. Give you an idea of what we're looking at. There's still a lot of active stocks right here. It's not much work I have to do today, because everything is done and everything is in play, which is nice. So this is what you get with the HPS. You get the setup. Here's the setup. Nice downward, very established downward trend line, and it was a divergence here. That low versus this candlestick low. And it was chopping around. It took a while to get going. Came down a little, stayed above that stop area, and now it's breaking through, and everything is really good right now. So that big reversal candle was key the other day. And remember, if you have a divergence, you place the stop under one tick under the divergence. That's what we did here, one tick under the divergence, and that's usually good to go. If that breaks that, then the divergence failed. That doesn't happen too often, so it's good to have that, and that's where that one was. Now we're on our way up here. It's probably going to go higher today as we take a look at the markets right now. I'll bring this one up on the screen, and you can actually see LW pushing new highs right now. Now, I've been a lot of people asking me, when do we get into Boeing and when do we get into Biogen? I want to wait. Might end up not being a great idea, but it might. I just feel like I want to wait until Monday. If I feel like the story of the inverted yield curve, that gets more airtime, or there's any type of more bad news, this market to actually open up another 20, 30 points lower on Monday. And then if we had a gap down, if that affected the Biogen, I would actually want to buy that gap down. So it's a little, I'm not buying too much into this, because I think next week it's going to be another rough beginning of the week. And same thing with the Boeing. If I could get Boeing down a little bit further, I'd probably start my position, but I haven't. I haven't touched either of these. It was more of the quality names. It was funny, Dak called me up. He goes, what I noticed about the HPS watch list, they're all in boring stocks, well, quality stocks. And I said, yeah, isn't that funny that the market's starting to pull back? And that these stocks are like more of the quality names, the Kellogg, the Iron Mountain, the Buffett stock, very, kind of low price, smaller, lower beta stocks, and they seem to be outperforming the market today. Everything here we were just talking about, the LW new highs, IRM just off the highs, Kellogg just off the highs. So things are going pretty good today for hopefully for everyone that's tough. Plus we had the puts in the market to kind of protect those positions. So when the puts are going up and your positions are going up, that's pretty good day. So I'm happy about how things are working out, but I'm a little nervous about next week. There is some that are heading down. I mean, I do have the plan that's pulled off. The Occidental Petroleum has gotten hit again. It's not really holding up. There is some red on the screen. It's not all rosy, but there's more green than red, and that's a good thing when the market is down, 400 points. Liongate Film actually bouncing now. So that is that. I'm waiting for the next trade, next divergence trade, next spot trade. I think by the end of the day we could roll over and get back down, actually under 2,800. But that would be a buyer down there. I'd start looking at some other stuff. We'll see what happens next week with that scenario if that does play out. But I'm a little cautious at the end of the day here. I think we kind of roll over. I think those puts are going to really explode. And if not, so be it. It's a hedge, and I'm sure that our stocks will more than compensate for any upside move in this market. So that's how that's going to work. All right. I think that's it for the HP. Well, the first part of the watch list. I'm going to send this out there. Again, market radar, looking at maybe some downside early next week, but we're a combination of longer-term swing traders, but also very short-term scalpers. And it doesn't really matter what the market does. As you can see, the bot today really took apart this market, even in a downtrend, and that's quite good. So that's it. Let me get on to part number 2. If you're out there and you want to get all the full research and all the charts and all the access to Day Trading Radio and the chat rooms and stuff, come on over. There's a 10-day free trial, no credit card needed. But definitely, after that, you're going to want to sign up and just do that, and you get all the features of Day Trading Radio. I'll see you in the markets on Monday, if not Sunday. Sunday, the futures open. I always talk about the futures open on Sunday. And if you're into futures trading, you could tune in 6 o'clock. We get the futures feed up, and we, if there's any opportunities there, hopefully next week, I'll have those alerts set up for the overnight traders. So we'll know when those divergences, and we'll be able to hit those up. We'll hit them up good. All right, that's it. See you in the markets.